Kamala Harris accidentally admits the economy-crushing Green New Deal is her real agenda. Democrats and neocons never actually abandon an agenda, even if the majority of the population is against it. Instead, they look for the back door and pass legislation subversively. The Green New Deal was a widely unpopular concept rooted in UN-related climate directives on carbon emissions that would, if fully enforced, destroy the US economy in a decade or less. The EU in particular has been aggressive in expediting similar programs which now threaten the agricultural base of half of Europe. This has led to rising farmer protests and given momentum to far-right movements, a prospect that the social engineers at the EU Commission seem to fear more than anything else. And their solution? They're attempting to bribe farmers with subsidies and have offered to lessen the number of visits farms would receive from bureaucratic agents armed with fines and red tape. So how nice of them. As Jeremy Clarkson has cleverly proven on his Clarkson farm, trying to operate an agricultural business almost anywhere in Europe or UK is a regulatory nightmare that would put most farmers in the US out of business immediately. America is headed in this direction, and that's without the benefit of carbon emission rules. Subsidies are the only thing keeping them alive, but the real trick is that the strict regulations force farmers into a position where they need the subsidies. It's a government-enforced racket. Now, Europeans suffered a supply chain collapse and true famine during World War II, and the experience is still burned into their collective cultural memory. It's hard to say if the bribery scheme still worked in the way of EU elites' hopes. Once carbon rules are passed and accepted as norm, there is no chance that they will be rescinded. They will continue to be enforced even when food inflation skyrockets again and mass starvation becomes a reality. In the US, staunch opposition from conservatives prevents the direct passage of the Green New Deal. Biden denied his administration had any intention of pursuing the Green New Deal policies in 2020 during a debate with Donald Trump. Biden was asked by moderator Chris Wallace if he supported the Green New Deal, and Biden said, "No, I don't support the Green New Deal." Trump interrupted, says, "Oh, you don't? Oh, well, that's a big statement." And Biden said, "I support the Biden plan that I put forward, which is different than what Trump calls the radical Green New Deal." Of course, Biden would later covertly embed carbon policies into his Inflation Reduction Act, a piece of legislation that utterly failed to accomplish its name. CPI measurements have gone down, but inflation has not. But succeeding in launching the first stage of climate controls outlined in the GND, Biden has continued to deny that the GND, the Green New Deal, is a goal of his administration, but Kamala Harris seems to have spilled the beans in her first major media interview since she became the Democratic candidate. "I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, and it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time," she said. Running damage control, the Harris campaign claimed that after the interview that she does not support the Green New Deal, except she just said that her values have not changed. In reference to the Green New Deal, the Inflation Reduction Act was a Trojan horse and is only the beginning of if Harris becomes president. Man-made climate change theory is perhaps the biggest topic in the modern era. Absolutely no hard evidence global warming is caused by human industrial or agricultural activity. And when we compare long-term temperature records to the long-term carbon record, it becomes clear that carbon-based emissions have little to no influence over the Earth's climate. Correlation is not proof of causation, and in many cases there is not even evidence of correlation, some claim. Now, the Green New Deal has nothing to do with global warming and everything to do with environmental communism. On the primary reasons one of the reasons why the Green New Deal failed to gain public support was because it included climate justice protocols, which are designed to redistribute the wealth of richer nations over to poor nations. This same agenda has been promoted by globalist institutions like the Summit for a New Global Financing Pact, which has called for the IMF and World Bank to administrate these carbon taxes. In other words, the globalists get billions or trillions in funds annually through carbon regulation, and then they use the cash as leverage to pressure nations to adopt whatever policies they want. And in the meantime, richer Western nations break down economically until everyone is equally poor, and the globalists control planetary pocketbook. So, from what they claim, in essence, a modern day form of feudalism in the name of climate crisis. And this is on Zero Hedge by Tyler Durden. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.